And something else that always generates lots of comment is this: Labour planning new Brexit legislation to restore dynamic alignment. That phrase, dynamic alignment. If you put that in your dissertation at university, you'd be called out for it. They go, could you elaborate, please, on dynamic alignment, what it actually means? And then you sit down on an old stool with a study lamp, looking at the words dynamic alignment. What does it mean? And you conclude after about 5 days, it means absolutely nothing. Means nothing. Dynamic alignment rules just means we're going to take their rules, basically, allowing future Brussels regulations to apply automatically to the UK. That's what dynamic alignment means, of course, including food standards and carbon trading. A move ministers say will boost growth, but critics call a surrender of sovereignty, as the party also sets out plans to phase out the fuel duty cut, drawing opposition from Conservatives and the Reform Party. Let's speak to Andrew Montford, Director of Net Zero Watch. Andrew, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Ian.
I do love the dictionary of politico-speak. Dynamic alignment, what a load of old tosh.
Absolute nonsense, isn't it? It's just politics by word salad.
It really is. You know, it sounds like, oh, they've worked hard for something and we've suddenly produced some dynamic alignment. You throw in the word dynamic and there is sort of a superlative nature to that, and you sort of sense, wow, something really good's going to happen here. But looking at this crock of announcements, I can't see any good.
No, I don't think it will do us any good at all. I think we've spent a long time trying to get out of the EU and make our own rules. Why we would want to align ourselves either dynamically or otherwise to the EU when the EU seems hell bent on economic suicide is beyond my understanding, really. Yeah. In terms of my area of expertise, the energy system, this will tend to increase our costs. The EU carbon costs are higher than the costs that we've had here. So aligning ourselves to those is not going to help at all. We can only hope and pray that we don't get locked in. I mean, one assumes that come 2029 we will be able to reverse this and get back on aligning ourselves. Well, let's even dynamically align ourselves to the parts of the world that are growing quickly, and stop hobbling ourselves with these crazy carbon costs that are just closing down our industry left, right, and centre, and causing the economy probably to go into meltdown eventually.
Yeah, and of course the EU have a very harmonised and, as far as they're concerned, a very agreeable, unified approach. I mean, there are, of course, opposition parties that disagree, but broadly speaking, they're really singing from this net zero hymn sheet, right?
That's right. They, like us, have had almost uniformity for decades on net zero. There is a hope, I think, that the tide is turning in Europe as well. There are lots of climate skeptic parties coming to the fore across the continent, and so you might hope that by 2029, hope that things are so bad that we start to get a new consensus that net zero renewables have been catastrophic mistakes, a disaster for European civilization, and that we have to reverse pretty pronto. That I think is probably a likely scenario.
Yes.
You can see the state of Germany's economy is awful now. They're probably even worse than us, and they are losing manufacturing, the core of their economy, really quite quickly. We at least have, we've already lost ours. We have financial services keeping the economy afloat. But you can hope that quite a lot of Europe is going to change course.
I would have thought so. What is carbon trading? What is that really? Is that the offsetting of carbon?
Yeah, that's right. You get permission to produce some carbon, and that gets paid, and you can buy and sell permits. So the idea is that the permission to release carbon into the atmosphere ends up with the person who needs it most. Right. But in reality, the result is that we just end up with uncompetitive manufacturing industries, and we export all our jobs to China. That is not a good. That is not a good result.
I mean, that's the wider picture here, isn't it? That's the picture that Donald Trump has brilliantly identified. Whether you like him or not, he's certainly right onto that one. But the Chinese component to all of this is curious, because every windmill, every solar panel, and God knows what else in between seems to come out of China, not out of a manufacturing engineering base in Bromley.
No, there is very little green electricity generation equipment produced here. I think we have one factory on the Isle of Wight that makes the sails for wind turbines, and that's about it. Right. The turbines themselves are made in Germany and America, or in Scandinavia. The towers are made in the Middle East or other places like that. And solar is all from China. So there has been there's been very little, very few silver linings to the cloud of deindustrialization. We haven't got jobs. We've just exported jobs, and we've knackered our economy in the process.
Yeah, and that is the phrase we will leave it with: knackered our economy. Love it, Andrew. Thank you very much indeed. As ever, Andrew Montford is the director of Net Zero Watch, and it's quite evangelical stuff over there in the EU as well. I mean, you think Ed Miliband is on a crusade, because boy, he is on a crusade, and he sings really from that same kind of EU-based hymn sheet. That's what gets him out of bed in the morning.